Today's guest isn't here to play it safe or to skim the surface. He's here to shake things up, but in the best possible way. He's someone who helps people cut through confusion, self doubt, and inner blocks to reconnect with our soul's true direction. With razor sharp intuition and a grounded, no nonsense approach, he blends deep energy work with real world transformation. He's helped countless people release limiting beliefs without spending years in therapy, and he helps us tune into the subtle signals that life is always sending us. His work isn't magic, but the results can feel miraculous. If you've ever felt stuck, unsure, or like there's something more calling you, you're in the right place. Get ready to discover how to tap into your inner wisdom, strengthen your soul's compass, and walk the path towards a life that feels like home. Let's welcome the man who helps us find our way, Colby Wilk. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. That was a great intro. You're
Oh.
good at this.
I'm glad you liked it. And as we said before we hit record, my research, really excited to talk with you today, especially because I've never spoken to an intuitive wayfinder. And I'd love to know from you, and especially for those who haven't heard that term or hearing it for the first time, what does that mean?
A wayfinder helps you find your way.
Yep.
And I'm an intuitive wayfinder. The way I help you find your way is through my intuitive guidance. So I'm able to spot what's in someone's blind spot that's been causing them suffering that they may not be aware of. And by bringing someone's attention to it, things can clear very quickly because truth has a way of doing that.
And what drew you to this kind of transformational work in the first place?
I come from a rather dysfunctional home, and I came to this work because I needed this work.
Yep.
I developed empathy. Well, I probably came in with a really empathic gift, but also, as many people who have been raised in dysfunctional homes, you learn to make it about somebody else so that you know you're safe. And so, from that dysfunctional background, I developed this skill set, and from there, I built, more of an intuitive gift, being able to sense what somebody is stepping over.
Right. So I know you've said that traditional therapy can only go so far. So I'm wondering what else there is or how else you work, which is different from traditional therapy, if you know what I mean.
Traditional therapy is wonderful,
Yep.
right? I'm not putting it down, but there is many forms of healing in therapy, or there are many forms of healing in therapy because there needs to be. Now, I've done a lot of therapy and I used to do that for work. But what I found was without being able to spot what was in someone's way, you wind up talking and talking and talking because a lot of people think they know what their problem is and they're wrong.
Right.
And so you go down this path with a therapist and you're not getting anywhere. Most therapy, well, traditional therapy is very mentally focused, and there's not really much in your head other than confusion and other people's thoughts. The real healing, in my opinion, comes from accessing the body. Beyond that, accessing the soul. My people want to know why they're here and how do they live a purposeful, full life.
Yeah.
The clients who are other clients who I don't want to work with want to resolve their immediate problems, which is not really their call of their soul for the most part. So the difference is, do you want to get out of pain or do you want to live fully?
Yeah, because I guess sometimes you've got to go through the pain to learn the lessons to be able to live fully.
Sometimes, and some people indulge in their pain,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like I am somebody who suffers with being lonely, being poor, never fitting in, and you start to identify with that.
Yeah,
And then you become your problem
yeah, yeah.
as opposed to going beyond it.
Gotcha. And there can be a certain payoff for being that way.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Especially as a child, if you learned, like in my situation, the way I would get my mother's attention was to be deficient in some sort of way. That's the only time, like, I would get sick, and that's the only time she would cuddle me. And so I learned, oh, pity works.
Mm,
Oh, pity gets me affection. But as you grow older, pity gets you affection doesn't really work. Because the people who are drawn to that,
yep,
you really don't want to be with, or I didn't want to
yep.
be with.
It really fascinates me that, as that example that you just gave, in that things that happen to you early in life and then you make certain decisions and then you act like that as your life goes on and maybe even continue that in your adult life, and sometimes we forget that we even made that decision,
Mm.
but we act like that. So I guess we need people like yourself to shine a light on that and maybe help us see that we can possibly be living from our past decisions that we've forgotten that we made. Is that part of the work you do, or is it different from that?
We all have a formula for how we get what we want. And that formula is developed in childhood. So you have a formula, and I have a formula. Some people's formulas work better than other people's formulas. So for me, my formula was I'm going to be adorable because that really works to get me attention. And I'm going to be caring about the other. So I'm going to be adorable and caring. You have your formula, right?
Yep.
But as we get to adulthood, we're like, if I'm only adorable and I can only take care of people, there's only so many situations that formula is going to work.
Mm,
However, most of us insist that our formula works because we do not want to change.
yep.
Now, if you want to know what you're here to work on, one express route. Can I share that? Would that be okay?
Please, yeah.
One express route is to look at what your parents always say to you continually. What was your mother's or father's favorite expression? So my mother's favorite expression was, it's always something. If it's not one thing, it's something else.
Yep.
That's what she said.
Mm,
But what she didn't say was, so you better be beyond circumstance. My mother told me what I was here to learn. Colby, best be learn to be beyond circumstance. My father would say, don't upset your mother. Every day, don't upset your mother. Don't upset her. What he didn't say was, Colby, you can't upset anyone. That's on them. So from my mother, I'm here to learn, hey, be beyond circumstance. And
mm.
from my father, I'm here to learn, hey, you can't upset anyone. That's on them.
Yeah, right. Very powerful lessons. But I noticed you went deeper than just what they were saying. You
Yeah,
found
it's
that.
about like what did they say and what didn't they say?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Do you see your mother and father in there? What they said and
Well, I think I can. And just before we go there, when you said what they say and what they didn't say, to me, it was like what they said, and then you found a meaning that is more empowering for you in terms of this is what they're either really trying to teach me, or this is how I need to listen to that
Mhm.
to be more empowered by what they're saying. Because you could take "don't upset your mother" as I'm upsetting my mother and it's bad and wrong.
Right.
Uh, but you haven't taken it that way. You've found the deeper meaning, and I love the reframing, the way of looking at it. So it's more empowering. And all of us get to do that with all of our circumstances. We can make a more empowering meaning to help us with the life and where we want to go.
I think it's interesting that so many of us are looking like, what am I here to do?
Yeah.
And what you're here to do is in what your mother and father repeatedly said. but didn't say.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Yeah.
Right? So there are express routes to get to what your soul is trying to convince, trying to lead you to.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could do a bit of a sesh right now, Colby, because one of the things that my dad said to me, which I had, which took a while for me to get over, let's say, was there was an experience where I was with a group of friends and I was having a great time. And he walked past and he said, "Don't act a fool, John. Don't act a fool," in front of all my friends, right? And at the time, I was devastated that he did that. And so, anyone, if I was thought I was having a good time, and anyone would come and try and spoil that for the rest of my life, I would get super, super upset and angry. Right. So I
Mm,
realized that's where that feeling came.
mm,
But I haven't really looked at it in terms of what was he trying to teach me. Now, as a father myself, I suspect he was just trying to protect me and make sure that I wasn't going to get hurt in some way.
sure.
But I don't know what that lesson was. What do you reckon, Colby? As in
Well, it's
what
not
he's
what
trying to
your
tell me?
father is trying to tell you, it's what your soul is trying to tell you through your father.
Right.
So he says, hey, don't act the fool,
Yeah.
meaning don't embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
And so I imagine your soul is saying, and I don't know your father,
Sure.
your soul might be saying, hey, you can't embarrass yourself. Don't let your fear of embarrassment stop you, son.
Right.
Don't let your fear of embarrassment, because in many respects, we are here to learn what our parents refused to learn
Hmm.
for themselves. So I imagine your father was very concerned about image
Yes.
and reputation.
Definitely.
And although those are important things,
Yep.
he was imprisoned by it and he didn't have full self expression. And so your soul is like, here you go. Don't act the fool. Realize you can't. Don't let your fear of being a fool stop you from doing this incredible podcast. That's going to change lives. Because if you're so afraid of expressing yourself, you're going to have a very small existence.
Yeah, I love your take on it. It's way more empowering than my initial one that I did see and break through. Yeah, I guess it leads to one of the questions I was going to ask you, which is, you help people hear their soul's voice, and you've explained that a little bit. What are some of the simplest ways we can begin to listen to that inner guidance every day?
You know, when people want to hear their soul, soul meaning the larger, wiser part of you.
Oh, thanks for that definition. That's fantastic.
Yeah, of course. So in my world, there's a piece of your soul in your body, and there's parts of your soul outside your body. Okay, it's an in and out kind of situation. If people want to hear their soul, hear, sense, feel, the first question is always why. Why do you want that? Because some people want to hear their soul to get ahead. And that is a recipe for disaster because a lot of people are afraid to make contact with their soul because maybe they don't trust it. And that which they want, they will no longer be allowed to get. Your soul, in my opinion, does not puppet you like an outside being
Mhm.
trying to get John or Colby or whoever to do something. Your soul is trying to get you your heartfelt desire. Not, let's say, my desire for a slice of pizza right now, but what I really, truly want. It is trying to get me that to have that life experience so that I can grow as a soul body. Therefore, it's not puppeting you and nothing to be afraid of. It has etched out the quickest way to that desire or those desires. However, that may seem not like a straight path. Okay, so why do you want it? Why do you want to get contact? Okay, great. One, there are practices to do to quiet yourself, quiet your mind. And what I mean by that is to open the space between thoughts so that you have more space to be. So you're not constantly moving. Now, in the world of social media where we're all looking at our phones, society, our world is not really trying to get us to slow down. It is trying to inundate us. So, one, you need some space. Now, people say that, oh my gosh, I don't want to meditate. Oh, I don't have an hour. I'm not asking you for an hour. I'm asking you for a few seconds a day. Few seconds a day to before you pee, take a breath. Before you eat your food, take two breaths. Before you go to bed, close your eyes and just relax. You don't have to do anything. Just sometimes the best meditation is just to look out the window, turn off the phone, and look out the window. Give your soul an opportunity to meet you. Your soul cannot come to you. You have to go to it, meaning that you have to run the same vibe as it.
Right.
Okay, right. So if you're all frenetic and I gotta do it, good luck. Good luck
Yeah.
getting communication with it. Okay, so you gotta quiet down. Gotta know why you're doing it.
I'm glad you explained that. So, to get more in touch with your soul, you want to, I was going to say, be at a similar level or vibration, but that's not, I guess that you're going to explain it way better than I can. But,
Uh,
and then that way that you can have that deeper connection. And as you mentioned that to connect with your soul, to it was about your desire. Is it so you can either fulfill what your desire really is, to feel what you really want?
to feel what you really want. In Tantra, there's a game. And the game is because a lot of people say, I don't even know what I want.
I was
Colby,
just
I
going to
don't know
ask
what I
you that.
want.
How do you know what you really want?
Okay, right, right, right. So you ask yourself three or four questions. So let's play that game. So what I do is I ask myself, and let's do this right now, John, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, I'm
So I
up for it.
close my eyes and I say, all right, what do you want? And the first thought that comes to you. So what do I want? I want a slice of tomato with some salt. John, what do you want?
I want a cup of coffee.
Great. Then I take a moment. Okay, what do I really want? I want company. I want company where I'm seen by my company. Like I want that sense of being seen. John, what do you really want?
Well, I'm in the context of this interview, so I really want to have a great interview with you, which we are.
Great. Okay. Third question. What do I really, really want? Love. I want love. John, what do you really, really want?
Well, this message of hope, empowerment, personal development to reach as many people as we can, to touch, move, and inspire as many people as we can around the world.
Last question. What do I really, really, really want? Peace. I want peace. What do you really, really, really want, John?
To have the most meaningful life I can in this small slice of time I have in this amazing universe.
Beautiful. So, with the three or four questions,
Yep.
you drive yourself deeper
Yeah.
out of your mind,
Yep.
out of your mental field,
Yep.
into your body, into your soul. And it's like, okay, in my case, I want peace. In your case, we'll sum it up as meaning, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Sure.
Right? Okay, I want peace. Colby wants peace. John wants meaning. Okay, what's my next move, given that's what I want? So if I want peace, I'm not going to have the slice of pizza because I know that's not going to generate peace because I'm going to have digestive issues, right? If you want meaning, what's your next move, right? And so it's fairly easy to communicate with your soul. The other thing that may be in the way is trauma or things that keep you from trusting yourself. Because if you can't trust yourself, you can't trust what you're getting, your instinct from your soul. And so you're left to perform for other people to be likable, acceptable,
Mm.
which is 90% of the people out there are performing and they don't even know they're performing, as opposed to just being themselves. Most people are interested in self development. And self development, implicit in self development, is I hate myself. I hate myself, and that's why I've got to be different, bend myself into some version of better, as opposed to self acceptance.
Mm.
I accept myself, and my work is to accept myself more deeply. And from there, I might choose to make some changes.
I like the premise of what you're saying there because sometimes the premise, like you're saying with self help, is that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And you don't have to start from a place that there's something wrong. Could be a place of, I want to see what else is there, improve myself, or that knowing that I don't have it all handled. I don't know everything. I'm really interested to know more and see where that takes me in life.
I remember sitting in a workshop and being like, I'm going to curse a little bit, motherfucker, here I am at another fucking workshop working on myself. I could have used this money and gone to Club Med or some beach resort.
Yeah.
And now I look back on it, it would have been better. I would have been better served to gone to the beach
Right.
and stepped into a deeper level of enjoyment,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to thinking there's something wrong with me
Mm.
and hiring a facilitator, doing a workshop to correct it. So there's this delicate balance, a walk of, because we're not here to develop ourselves, we're here to become who we really are.
Mm.
And to do that, we have to accept ourselves so that we can become ourselves. So it's a version of stepping out of a closet and stepping out of another closet and stepping out of another closet.
And you'd need to gather information or learn more or to help you do that, wouldn't you? How would you
You
respond to
need to
that?
be able to sit still enough,
Mm-hmm.
to be silent enough.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say sit still because you could dance, you could do athletics, you could shower, you could do gardening. You don't have to sit still,
Mm-hmm.
but you do need to give yourself an opportunity to be you. We all have, you as John, you know what you need to do to anchor into you. All I need to do is either meditate or go in the yard
Mm-hmm.
or walk the dog.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do, John, to like descend into you?
I use gratitude a lot, and that helps me. And I'm pretty easily pleased, so I can just look out the window and go, "Oh wow, isn't that amazing?" I'm looking at a few trees and beautiful sky right now. So I find for me, gratitude is the access. It's got a bit cliched over time, where everyone's telling everyone to be grateful, but I don't mind that. I think it's a great message. But what I find is when I do it, and I can do it many, many times a day, I walk down the stairs in my house and I think, holy crap, I've got a 2-story house and it's a beautiful house. I can
Oh, well,
I can think and feel that as I'm walking down the stairs. Yeah, so this happens to me over and over, I guess, because I have these kind of conversations on a weekly basis. And and so I'm in the conversation a fair bit. I can make a cup of coffee, watching it drip and go, isn't that amazing?
wow.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I'm loving it.
wow. Gratitude is not easy for me.
Right.
I can access appreciation
Okay.
easier than I could be like, oh, I appreciate X, Y, and Z. And I say that for your listeners
Yeah.
because when I hear this, I'm like, oh, gratitude. I have no map for that. I wasn't raised by very grateful people.
Hmm.
And then the other option is, what do I have that I would be unhappy with if it went away?
Right.
That's another way in
Yeah, yeah.
that might help some of your listeners. Oh,
Yeah.
what do I have? Well, I have a house. I don't want that to go away.
Mm,
I have
mm,
a
mm,
dog. I don't want that to go away.
mm.
I have health. I don't want that to go away. And so it's a way in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I really like how you've put that. It's a really good question to ask yourself to access that appreciation or gratitude. Because I wasn't going to ask you what do you think the difference is, but I guess what you're saying is the difference is the question you ask yourself to get there.
Right.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. You release limiting beliefs in some of the work that you do. Might be a good time to mention that all of Colby's details will be in the show notes, but I also know you do have some offerings to help people. I'd love to give you a platform to talk about that a little bit.
Oh, God bless you. So people come to me with all sorts of problems: procrastination, anxiety, self blame, even physical problems. Most of them have read self help books, have been to healers, therapists, gurus, and yet true well being eludes them because true well being requires more than applying other people's information to you. Because most teachers, most shaman, most whatevers can only tell you what they've done and here, use this tool. My gift is able to spot, well, what's in your way, in your blind spot, but also to sense your soul, what's it inviting you to do, and help you to sense it as well.
Right,
Because if you know what your soul's inviting you to do, then it's clear what is yours to do. I'll give you an example.
please.
Last week, I was meeting with a young lady suffering terribly because she wants to be married and she wants to have a kid. Bad. She's in her 30s. She's like, my clock's ticking, tick, 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 tick. Very attractive, gorgeous girl, woman. And she's like, I want to meet the love of my life. Ba, 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 ba. Can't meet anyone. Ba, ba, ba. And I go and look, use my gift. And I'm like, you don't want love. What are you talking about? And as I said, the truth will set you free, but it'll piss you off first. Piss you off.
That's definitely a quote that's going to come out of this show that I'm going to be posting. The truth will set you free, but it'll piss you off first.
Right. I'm from New York. I have no problem, being direct.
Good.
What are you talking about? I want to be in love. I'm like, you don't want that. Nope. You want to be validated.